Hello everybody, welcome to the InduSoft webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about Application Lifecycle Management in InduSoft Web Studio. We're going to explain some concepts to you. I'm going to go through the agenda in a minute. Before we get started, I just would like to talk really quick on how this actually works. I don't know if you have participated on one of our webinars before, but I can actually not hear what you say. So if you say something, I'm not going to be able to hear it. So if you have questions or anything during the presentation, try to post them in the chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer while I'm presenting, but at the end we have a Q&A session, and then I'll be able to look at all the questions you posted in the chat or in the questions and answers, and I will reply to those. Our presentation today is about Application Lifecycle Management, and let's just start by going through our agenda. So first, I'll give a brief introduction so you know who I am, and there is also another person that's helping me during this presentation. Then we will go and mention what is it, a brief overview about Application Lifecycle Management, and how this can help you with your own projects there. Then I will explain the concepts about the Team Foundation server and which role it plays on the solution that I'm going to show to you. We're going to go over the InduSoft collaboration tool, and then I'll have a live demo where I'm going to work on a project with you, and I will show you how I can collaborate with different people in the same project, how we can control tasks and all that. And at the end, we're going to have the questions and answers. Again, all this is going to get posted on our website later, so if you want to review it, you're going to be able to. Okay, so a brief introduction. My name is Lorenzo Teodoro. I'm the VP of Engineering with InduSoft. I've been working with InduSoft since 2002. I'm currently the manager for the InduSoft Worldwide Development Team, so I'm responsible for the InduSoft Web Studio development. With me, I also have Marcelo, and Marcelo is a development leader with InduSoft. He has been working with us since 2008. He's the developer responsible for the development of our security system, all the nice LDAP features that that were introduced on version 7. He is also the developer responsible for creating the collaborative solution inside InduSoft Web Studio. Okay, so let's get started. What is it? Well, Application Lifecycle Management is something that nearly every single company now uses when they're developing software, and we don't see as many people using it in today's SCADA system. So InduSoft here, we had this idea about introducing Application Lifecycle Management when creating SCADA applications, because SCADA applications at the end of the day, they're the same thing as regular software. They have their requirements, they have bugs, they have things like that that have to be addressed, and they're constantly evolving it. Be it an application that is for a big plant or a small application that you're putting on a machine. You need to have something that can control the life cycle of that application. You need to have a backlog for enhancements and things like that. So what an application lifecycle management system offers is basically a repository for you to have all your requirements, to list your software architecture, to manage all of your testing, control software management, have management about all of your change requests and things like that. And it should also make it very easy for you to see what's happening in the application and things that were done in the past. So by applying Application Lifecycle Management into your development process, be it for the PLC, the HMI, or whatever, you can introduce traceability so you know who changed what and when and why. You can also have a big level of interactivity between the different players. So people requiring new features on your application, they can communicate to you those requirements. You can gather those requirements, and you can also collaborate and spread the work between the different members of your team. Quality improvements, well, if you have a list with everything that has to be done, bugs and things like that, it becomes very easy to you to manage the system. And again, it can be a big system or a small system. You always need this. I think the main difference is that in the past, this was something hard because you needed an infrastructure and very expensive software. And now, with the solution that we are offering to you, you can put something like this in place at nearly with very little cost, and then you can have the collaboration and the tracking for your system. So you can be even if you are only one developer, you might look into having an application lifecycle management when you're developing your applications there, because that's going to give you a very good control, backup, and all that. Reduce the time to market. If you're shipping a machine or if you're developing an application that you'll be delivering to your customers, this will help you to plan what you need to deliver, and it will make you deliver this faster. And if you're working on a team or if you're getting feedback from a customer, you have the information all in a single point, and you see how helpful that can be to you. And again, why you should do this with a SCADA. I mean, SCADA systems, they can be very complex. And they can be complex, most cases for two reasons. One, you're developing a big application that has a lot of requirements. Two, you have an application that you actually designed and you try to create some sort of a template for a machine that you can ship with several machines. Those two are probably where we see from experience the most complex scenarios where you need this. And those are mostly the scenarios that we've been facing with, because we have a consulting services team that helps integrators when they're developing their applications, and it was getting very hard for us to manage all the different teams with the different projects. By using Application Lifecycle Management that we introduced with our version 7.1, our internal team started using this to gather the requirements, to develop the solutions, and deliver the solutions to the end customers. And this saved them an amazing amount of time, plus people working on different offices and on different locations can work on the same project at the same time. So this helps reduce the time. And again, we use this solution with InduSoft Web Studio in our consulting services, but we've been using this for years, developing the InduSoft Web Studio project. So it's part of our internal processes, and you see how helpful this can be. Now, as I mentioned, ALM is not something new. It's new to SCADA. InduSoft is the pioneer to actually be introducing this into the product. Again, ALM is not only source control, as I will explain to you later, but you see a few systems there that provide similar capabilities for application lifecycle management. The one that most people know is the IBM ClearQuest. And it's a very expensive system. It's very powerful, but extremely expensive that you can install to do this type of control, and there are a lot of developers using that. There is one from HP and SAP. Now, we decided to go with the Microsoft Team Foundation server for several reasons. I think one of the most important ones is cost. So when you are using the Team Foundation server, you can install the server on your premises at a very low rate. You can buy an MSDN subscription for a couple $1,000, and then you get the TFS running there, and you can start collaborating. Also, Microsoft has a cloud offering, and that's what we're going to be showing you today, that you can see it's as easy to set up as creating an account in Gmail or creating an account at Outlook.com. So you just have to set up an account, and then you can create your projects and have several people collaborating on those projects in the cloud, and up to a certain number of users, you can do that for free. Okay, the Team Foundation server. So the Team Foundation server, as I mentioned, is a Microsoft product that offers source control, data collection, reporting, project tracking, and it's intended to collaborative software development projects. And again, developing a SCADA is like developing any software. It's the same thing for developing a PLC program. There might be different requirements, different languages or scripting, but at the end of the day, you're delivering a software solution to your customers. You can create your service on your premise, or you can create your service on the cloud. If you're creating it on the premises, you can integrate it with SharePoint, and then you can have all the Office tools working along with it. So you can generate all kinds of reports and things like that. You can also express and consolidate all the requirements as work items, and then you can divide these tasks between your different team members, which is very nice too. Now, the Team Foundation server has 5 basic components there: project management, work item tracking, version control, reporting, and team build. What I'm going to show to you today will give you an idea about what you can do with the 4 items that InduSoft Web Studio can actually integrate with, which are project management, work item tracking, version control, and reporting. The team build is something that you can also use, especially if you're developing your custom controls, like you're creating .NET controls, or you're creating ActiveX controls, or HTML5 widgets. Then you can use the team build to actually compile those to you. Because the InduSoft Web Studio application is not actually compiled, it's interpreted by the InduSoft runtime, we are not using the team build service here. Now, what is the basic idea behind this? So basically, you have the stakeholders, which are basically the end customers, or a machine builder, or someone who actually wants a set of features to be implemented either into the SCADA or the small HMI that they're developing there. So they have all these requirements, and the idea behind this is that you put all the requirements into something called product backlog, which is basically a big list of to-do things between all the different teams that will collaborate to get the project going. Now, at the end, the workforce that's actually going to be working on these different items can get access to the backlog and then start executing their tasks. And that's the whole concept behind it. Now, along with it, you have all your tasks there, properly documented and everything, and you can have a burn-down chart that you can use to follow your development. You know, how many hours are left, what else you need to develop, and things like that. Now, if you integrate the TFS with other tools or the SharePoint, you can create several graphs like the one that I'm showing here that will help you track the overall development of your project, how many hours were spent, and things like that. Now, the first thing that I would like to cover, now, once you have your server set up, and again, I'm going to show you how we can set up a server real quick, and you see it's like a 2-minute thing on the cloud, you can install, you have to install the InduSoft collaboration tools in order to have a very easy integration with the ALM system. And how do you install it? If you're running the InduSoft setup for the first time, all you have to do is to check the checkbox collaboration tools. By checking this checkbox, we will install everything you need. Now, if you have already installed InduSoft Web Studio, you can run the installer again in maintenance mode, select modify, and again, enable the collaboration feature. Now, when you enable the collaboration feature and you click next, you're going to receive this message. This message will tell you that you actually need to install the collaboration tools, the Team Foundation Explorer. So that's a tool that you need to have installed on your computer, and it provides an API from Microsoft that we actually use inside InduSoft Web Studio to integrate. We look into the future to be able to distribute this with our installer and install this automatically from you, but we haven't received the proper authorization from Microsoft yet. However, these tools are available online for you to download and install, and here you can see the links. If you are using an on-premise Visual Studio Team Foundation server, you can simply install the Team Foundation Explorer. Now, if you're using the cloud version, you have to install the Team Foundation Explorer as well, but in addition to that, you have to install Visual Studio 2010 SP1 and also the setup that comes in the QB that you can see on these slides, on the KB. Okay, now once you got it installed, you're going to click on the collaboration button there, and you receive a message saying that your license doesn't support collaboration unless you purchase a license from us. So you actually need to have a license, an additional license in order to use this functionality with InduSoft Web Studio. So please contact your distributor for additional information on pricing for this. Okay. So now we are ready to proceed with our live demo. If you can give me just 1 minute, I'm going to start here the browser and I'm going to show you how you can configure your Team Foundation server on the cloud. Okay, so I just started the web browser, and actually you can go to tfs.visualstudio.com. By going to the tfs.visualstudio.com, you're going to get access to this website that I'm presenting to you now, and you can sign up for free. So actually, Microsoft allows you to use the ALM in the cloud for free, and you're going to see here the pricing information for some other requirements. But up to 5 users, 5 concurrent users, they don't charge for this. If you have more than that, you can buy an MSDN subscription, and then you can have access to more than 5 users. Now, if you click here on sign up for free, they will ask you to specify a prefix for your website. So this website is actually the point of access that you're going to have for your collaborative server. And again, all you have to do here is to type your company name or something like that. And then you click on Create Accounts. Now, when you click on Create Accounts, it will create that website for you. If you already have a live ID, you can sign up and use your live ID. If you don't have one, you can click on Sign Up Now, and that will allow you to enter with your name and specify your account name. One thing that people usually don't realize is that their live accounts can have their company email address. They don't have to use a Live or Outlook or Hotmail account. So for instance, they can come here in their account name and specify your name at yourcompany.com or .com, whatever. So you can actually use your own account and create a password. So once you did this, you're going to have your URL to be able to access the TFS on the cloud, and you're going to have a username and password so you can manage your projects. Now, I'm not going to create one now because I already have one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the tfs.visualstudio.com, and I'm going to sign in with my account. I created a demo account in order to demonstrate this to you. It's the InduSoft demo at hotmail.com. And here we go. I am logged into my account. Now, once I log to my account, in my URL, when I clicked to sign up, I specified the InduSoft demo prefix for my account. So I can click here. And here I can see all my different projects. In this case, I have a project that I created called Compressor System. Now, you can go and create a new project. Now, when you create a new project, you can specify the project name, and then you can also specify the process template. Now, the process templates will basically help you in your development process. And it really depends on the type of project that you are developing and everything. For us, with our consulting services, we've been using the Scrum, and for the InduSoft Web Studio internal development, we've been using the CMMI process development. and in both cases we apply agile techniques. That's one of the key features of this, is that you can have all the tracking and all that and still be very productive. If you're getting started with this, I strongly recommend that you select Scrum for your first project, because Scrum is a lot simpler. The reason why we use CMMI is because of some requirements that we have on our internal developments with pharmaceutical industries and things like that. So once you specify the project name, your process templates, then you can come here and select Source Control. You have to use the Team Foundation version control because we don't support GIT in our current release. So you do have to select this option. Now I'm not going to create a new project here because I already have one set up. So I'm going to click Cancel. And then in the recent projects, I'm going to select my compressor system. Now, this list here, it gives me, I set up this project before, right? And the project has this concept of product backlog item, which is basically my list of requirements. I can add tasks or bugs to the project. In the case that I have here, when I click Manage, what I can do is I can invite other people to collaborate with me in this project. By clicking on this Manage All Members, I can invite people, and right now I'm using InduSoft. I have Lorenzo Teodoro and Marcelo. So the InduSoft is basically the manager, and the other two users there are basically collaborating or can collaborate or get access to this project. I'm going to click Close. The other thing that's part of the Scrum, and I think it's also part of the other templates as well, but it's this concept of iterations that you have, which is actually key when you are developing a SCADA system. What a lot of people don't realize when they're in the process of developing a SCADA or a PLC program or things like that, they try to write a functional specification. They spend several months writing their big SCADA there, and then they go and deploy it at the customer. And the only chance the customer really has to give feedback on what you are doing is at the end of the project, or at a point where you have already spent too much time maybe doing something that's not what the customer expected. So the concept of iterations is to allow you to split your project between these different iterations so that you can show things to the customer beforehand and get the feedback from the customer. So in the case here, I just defined two iterations for this project, one called Sprint 1, the other one called Sprint 2. So in the Scrum process, the iterations are usually referred to as sprints. In a full sprint, you develop a certain list of tasks, and then you finish those tasks and you can show them to your customers. Okay? Now, I have defined some dates for my sprints, and I have invited my members, so now it's time for me to define the work that I want to get done. And you express the work that you want to get done as a series of backlog items. So again, this is all part of the Team Foundation server, and in this case, I have a few examples of backlog items that have to be developed in order for me to complete this project that I'm creating for a compressor. And I broke it into SCADA application phase 1 and phase 2, create PLC program, configure firewall internet access, and write the user guide. Now, when I click here on sprint number 1, what I actually did, I took some of the product backlog items that I want to deliver in this first iteration, and I broke it into smaller tasks. And those smaller tasks, I can actually divide between the different team members that are actually going to be working in these developments. And if I go to my sprint number 2, again, I have a list of tasks there that I have to execute as well. So let's get started here. Again, I will show you how to create tasks and how to interact with this. But before we do that, I'm going to go to my board and say, okay, we are working on this development, right? And the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of the tasks that's assigned to me, and I'm going to start working on them. So the first thing that I actually need to do is to configure or to create the SCADA application and put this SCADA application in the cloud, or make this SCADA application available here. And one of the things that I realized is that I don't have a task for that. So let's go back to the backlog, and I just forgot that my first task should be create SCADA application. And I'm going to add this to the sprint 1. Everything is right, so I'm going to save here. I can add description, I can put more details to this. And actually, this is only going to take me a few minutes. So I'm going to put this, it's going to take me an hour. Now, I can go to my board and I see the new item there. So I can drag here and say, this is in progress now. And this is in progress because I'm going to create this. And then it's time for me to get started with InduSoft Web Studio. So I click on InduSoft Web Studio, and this will bring the InduSoft Web Studio development environment. And there we go. Now, the first thing that I need to do is to connect to my collaboration system. Since this is my first time connecting to it, I need to click on this button, and then it will bring me this window. You do see a lot of fields there and a lot of details, but this is actually very simple. All you have to do is to click on this Browse button. The Browse button will bring you a list of servers and a list of projects. If I click on servers, it allows me to add an additional server. I have two servers here, one that I'm using for this demo, the other one I'm using for internal development. I'm just going to click on the Add button so you can know what you have to do when you set up your own cloud or your own Team Foundation server. So if I click Add, it will bring me this pop-up, and all that I have to do in this pop-up is to go into the website of our Team Foundation item there, select the URL, and paste it here, and click OK. Once you do this, it will ask you for username and password, and it will add it to the list as I have this item here. So I'm going to select this one and click Close. Then you see in the cloud there is only one collection. When you create your own server on your premises, you can have more collections there. I really don't recommend working with multiple project collections. I think it's nice having hundreds of projects, but you don't want to have or deal with hundreds of collections because it's very hard to customize and to deal with. But with projects, it's very simple. So I'm going to select this project here and click Connect. Now, as you could see, all the information there got populated. So the only thing you really have to do is to select your project. And then the full folder that I'm going to be using for my projects is going to be this SCADA project. And then I click Connect. It will give me this message that the workspace was mapped. And I click OK. And now I'm connected to the Team Foundation server. Now, I actually have to create a new project because I'm starting my compressor there. So I'm going to create a compressor project, and I'm going to click OK. Now, once I do this, I actually don't have anything in the Team Foundation server yet. The only thing that I did was to create an InduSoft project. If I want to add it to the Team Foundation server, I need to use this button, Add to Collaboration Server. And then I click Yes. That's going to evaluate all the files that I have in my project, and it's going to mark them for adding to the Team Foundation server. And as you can see, the icons in the project, they are marked with a plus sign in order to add them. If I add a new class here, for instance, just for testing purposes, select member 1 and member 2. I'm going to save this. And then now you see the class there with a plus sign yes. Now, in order to finish adding this, I need to right-click and check in. So this is a concept that's very important when you're dealing with an application in this collaborative mode. The application itself is on your machine. When you mark something for adding or editing, you will send some information to the server so the other users know you are working on that file or on that application. However, you only commit your changes to the server when you check in, and that's what I'm going to do now. Now, when you perform the check-in, it opens up this window selecting all the files based on the nodes that you selected in the tree view, and the integration that InduSoft has with the Team Foundation server will bring all the tasks from the Team Foundation server. So you can actually come here, select the new task that I created there, so that's part of the tracking process. You can specify a comment, and then you can click check-in. Now, once I finish the check-in, it will add the project to the collaboration server. So other users that connect to the collaboration server can already see this. Now, let's see how this looks when we go into the browser interface. If I click here on the browser interface, the first thing that I would like to do here is to drag this to done, because I have completed this task. Now, if I double click on this task and I look at links, I'm going to see a link here for the SCADA application phase 1 product backlog item. Oops, sorry. And I see also a change set. This change set is basically how everything that I check in or add to my repository is added as a change set, and you can associate with the tasks. If I double click on the change set, it will actually show that I added these folders to the Team Foundation server. And I can actually look at the different files that were added there. Again, if I come here and I click on code, I can see the SCADA projects folder, and here I have several projects that I was creating for testing purposes, and I have my SCADA compressor projects here that I just added. Now, if you are working on the project and now you want to open the project, you can come here on open, and if you are connected to the cloud, we have to the TFS, we have this option, open project from collaboration. And here we list all the different projects that are there. So you can select your project and open. We automatically download your project from the Team Foundation server to your machine, and we open that project for you. Okay, I'm going to click cancel on this window. And now, let me go back here to the Team Foundation server. Let's go to work. I've finished my first task. Another thing that I would like to show you is that I can work not only with InduSoft. The nice thing about dealing with InduSoft is that InduSoft Web Studio is already completely integrated with the Team Foundation server. So you don't have to use external tools. You can basically deal with InduSoft Web Studio to make changes and update files, associate them with tasks. Everything is built inside InduSoft Web Studio. However, if you're using a PLC software or a PLC programming software, you can also use it with the Team Foundation server. The main difference is that because the programming software might not have integration with TFS, you have to use the Team Foundation Server Explorer in order to deal with that. So I also added here the PLC program. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put here, this is the task to create the PLC variables. I'm going to get into this task. So it's loading it. And I'm going to specify here that it's going to take a couple hours for me to finish this. And I'm going to put that we're going to work on this task. As you can see, the number of hours in progress is updated here. Now, other users might be working on this. So Marcelo will now also starting, because he saw I created the application, and he's going to start creating our compressor screen. So he can go and start working on that task. If I refresh here, I can see the update that he did. So he started working on the compressor screen, he's working on a different computer there, and he moved that he's going to be working on this task. Now, I am starting to work in creating the HMI variables. Now let's say I open the programming software, I'm using the RS Logix 5000, I created my program, and now I want to put it in the collaboration server. Using the TFS Explorer, you can click here to connect, and in the same way that you can connect with InduSoft Web Studio, you can connect with the collaboration server. Now, here inside SCADA projects, if I right-click, I have the option to add items. So you can add documentation, you can add the PLC program, you can add anything that you want on your repository, and you can have version control. So different users can connect to this, can check out files, make changes, and check in files. So it's really not only for the HMI system, it can be for the whole thing. Again, with InduSoft Web Studio, this is a lot easier because InduSoft Web Studio is fully integrated with the Team Foundation server. So if I click here, Add Items to Folder, I can select my compressor program that I wrote here in 2 hours, and I can click Finish, and that will mark this item for adding. Now, again, one important concept, I don't put anything in the server until I check in. So right now, all that I did, if I go back here to Code in the cloud, I will not see any files here. I only end up adding the files when I right-click and I do a check-in. So I'm going to check in my pending changes. I can go back to my work items, and there was a backlog item that I was there. Let me just check again what that backlog item is. So let me go back here to work. And this is the one that I was working on. This is task number 9. So I can associate my change with task number 9. And then I can check in. Okay, so good. I finished my task, and I'm going to drag it here. So I now have created the HMI variable. So I know I'm done with that part of the project. Okay, so now the next thing, since I have the HMI, I created the variables there. I know Marcelo is working on the compressor. Now I'm going to work on the HMI. And since I created the variables, maybe it's time for me to create the communication status screen. So I'm going to drag this task to be a task in progress now. So as you can see, anyone that logs into this portal can have an idea about what's being done by who, and how many hours are left into the project. So it's a very nice tool for you to actually check the work that's actually being executed. Now, I come back here inside the project, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to add a new screen. So this is going to be my COM status screen. And then here, I'm going to add a PLC or a little PLC that I'm going to be communicating with using the symbol library. And let me just add a rectangle in the back. So this is going to be my status rectangle. And then here, I'm going to assign the color animation. I'm going to put my COM status tag different from 0. For those of you already familiar with the InduSoft communication worksheets, if you have a worksheet there, if the communication status is good, it will return 0. So if I have a 0, I want to show it in green. Oh, I don't have the tag. So this is going to create the tag for me. And I'm going to select again the color green here. And here I'm going to select the color red and make it blink when I have a communication failure. That's good. I'm going to save this as COM status. So I have my COM status screen. Now, notice the icon. It has a little plus in front of it. So InduSoft automatically adds the item to the Team Foundation server. It doesn't upload the item yet, but it marks as the item that should be added on the check-in or when I perform a check-in. So now I can add communication drivers. For this, I'm using the ABCIP driver. So I'm going to select this driver and click OK. Now I can come here, open the main driver sheet, and I can specify my tag in the communication status. I'm going to save, and again, when I save, it marks the main driver sheet as another file that I need to add. I'm going to close this. And now you could see, because I added the tags database, it changed the tags database icon. And the icon doesn't have a plus sign, now has a green check mark saying that I checked out the file, because I'm editing the file. Now, once I finish this, I'm going to go and I'm going to perform a check-in. And it's going to say, look, these are the files that you have actually modified, right? And then I can again associate this with my task. And again, my task is create communication. It's task number 21. So I'm going to come here, select my task number 21, and I'm going to perform a check-in. Now, once I do this, what a surprise, there is a conflict. Well, there is a conflict because there was another user also working in the application. And actually, this user probably already updated the tags database with new tags. And if I go back to my tasks, let me see what happened here on the tasks. Marcelo finished the compressor screen. So he probably created some tags for the compressor there. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cancel this. I could merge my changes in that screen, but I also want to show a capability that you have for all the files but screens. Only screens do not support this capability yet, but you can right-click on the tags database and you can click Compare. Now, when you click Compare, actually the comparison tools here generate an XML file based on the InduSoft tags database and show you the differences. So basically, my tags database has only one tag called com status, and Marcelo created a tag called pressure that he's using on his compressor screen. Well, I could do several things like move this from one side to another, but I can also select the new tag that Marcelo added. This is on the server side, and I can simply go and paste this on my file, save it, and close this. Now, my tags database has Marcelo's change, and it also has my change. So it's very neat because I didn't add the pressure tag, that was added by Marcelo, and I just got it from the collaboration. Now I resolved this conflict, and I can perform the check-in again, select my task, and then specify here, created communication screen. And then I perform a check-in. Again, it will tell me there is a conflict, but now I know what the conflict is, and I want to keep my local version because it's the version where I merged all the tags. And then now InduSoft uploads all the changes to the Team Foundation server. And then I can see here that I have my new projects database updated. The icon is not marked as some changing is pending. Now, I know Marcelo probably did something else. He not only changed the tags database. So let me get the latest version from the server. And by getting the latest version from the server here, I can see that Marcelo added a compressor screen. Now, if I come back to my com status screen, maybe I have another change here, and I drag the PLC, InduSoft automatically check out the file for changes. And what is nice about this is, as I told you, there's no way to merge changes in screen. As long as users can work on different screens at the same time. But if they try to work on the same screen, like I'm going to drag this, I get a warning because Marcelo is currently working into this screen. So he made the check-in, but then, I don't know, he decided there was a bug or something, or the customer asked for new things on the screen, so he started working on it. If I try to change the same screen, I'm going to get this message saying, look, If you make changes to these, you're not going to be able to check in because there is another user changing. Again, for scripts, scheduler, all the other files, you can make changes at the same time. But for screens, users can work on screens as long as these are different screens. So they can collaborate in the same project as long as they don't try to make changes on the same screen. So again, I made my change. Now I can come here to check in, select my task 21, and then perform my check-in. And there we go. Everything is updated into the system. Now, if I go back here, I finished my screen, so I can go and complete this task. So in the same way, you can manage all your tasks and you can control what you are doing. Now, if you go back to the source control, right here, you can right-click on, for instance, this compressor project, and you can select View History. And then you're going to see all the change sets. I'm actually performing my check-ins as the InduSoft user, so that's why you see here the InduSoft user. And then Marcelo added the compressor screen on that change set. If I click on the change set, then I can see everything that he added. He actually added a compressor screen, he changed the text database, and he actually added this file, which is the project timestamp, when he made his changes. Now, when you use the TFS Explorer, you can have all the check-ins and you can get a specific version of the application. So when you come here, sorry, I just went to the view history as well. And you can specify a get specific version, and you can get a specific version of the application, either by date. You can apply labels to different applications, and there is also something called branching, where you can create different folders with the same application, but with different versions. So you can open different versions of your application using InduSoft Web Studio. So you can freeze a specific version and things like that. Okay, so I guess as far as the live demo, this is what I had to present, and I think right now I'm open to you guys for the questions and answers there. So if you have questions, you can post those questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and I will answer those questions for you. Okay. So first question here, how do you check out files with InduSoft Web Studio? So basically InduSoft Web Studio is fully integrated in the TFS. So any change that you try to make on a project that is added to the TFS, InduSoft Web Studio will automatically check out the file for you. Then once you're done with your changes, you have to right-click on the file and perform the check-in. You can right-click on a specific file, or you can right-click into the project itself. Okay, so is there any PLC programming software already integrated with the Team Foundation server? I would say no, not as far as we know. I think we are the pioneers to actually add this capability to fully integrate with the Team Foundation server so that you can develop your projects and checking them in and check them out. I don't know of any other PLC program that does that, but if you have the PLC files, you can use the Team Foundation Explorer, as I showed you here. And you can add files, you can check the history of files and things like that. And you can do the same thing for documents and different file types. Okay. Can I use the Team Foundation with other SCADA packages? I would say yes. You can use with any SCADA packages. Again, you can check in and check out files. I think the main thing is there are some SCADA packages out there who put all their configurations and everything into a single file, If you have that, you're going to have a very hard time collaborating. Plus, they don't have full integration. So you have to come to the TFS Explorer, perform the checkouts on your files, and use the TFS Explorer to check in. When you're using InduSoft Web Studio, because we save all the configurations on different files, it makes a lot easier to have different users working on different things at the same time. Also, you can perform the checkout and check-in on InduSoft because we have everything fully collaborated. Okay, can you only allow checkout of specific files to certain users that are assigned to the work item? Actually, no, because there is no way for you to say which files are associated with the work item until you actually perform the check-in. That's the only point where we actually link the files with the work items, but that's actually a very interesting question there. I'm going to put that as a possible enhancement for us in the future, because in the Team Foundation server, we can create custom fields, and maybe we can allow that. But one thing that you can do with the InduSoft security system is to prevent users from editing specific files. So for instance, if you have a user who can edit only screens from a specific area, you can lock that user by configuring the InduSoft Web Studio security system, and then you only assign tasks to that user that are for that, specific area that you lock the user in. But very, very good question. Thank you. Okay. What happens when you add a new screen after you have added the project? Okay, I pretty much did that during the presentation, but let me just do it again just to make sure. When you add a new screen here, and you go and you start adding objects to that screen, and you save it, we automatically mark that screen for adding. So you can see the different icon there. And if I right-click on the screen, I can perform a check-in. So this screen is not on the server yet. If I perform a check-in, I'm going to be actually putting into the server so other users can get the latest version and get that screen. I'm just going to do this. And then I can click here and perform the check-in. Okay, how do I prevent my customers from seeing the project? You can actually lock that if you want, or you might have different stakeholders who want to do that. Actually, the Team Foundation server has you can have a set of settings for configuring security, and everyone that you add as a member, they can be a contributor, or they can be, for instance, just a project reader. So a project reader cannot make changes on your project. They can actually read your project, they can see what's happening, and you can actually, for instance, I have the different members here, and I can add someone to be a member of the readers. In this case, I have administrators and all that, and I can configure the different users or different members for here. So if I remove Marcelo from this project, and I add Marcelo as a reader, he's only going to be able to read. Okay, why are the tag L files always modified? Well, actually, the tag L.txt file, which is a text file, always gets modified. And that's why we created this comparison tool that allows you to merge changes with other users. And it gets modified because that's the tags database. So if you have 7 or 8 users working at the same time and adding tags, the tag L will get modified because of that. Also, if you configure alarms or trends, that's also information that gets stored into the tags database, and that's why. but the merge tool should help you. I do recommend that you try the tool and the comparison tool and send us your feedback. And we're going to enhance those tools based on your feedback if you don't get a good experience using that. Again, this is a tool that's used by us here internally as well. We are constantly enhancing it, but the feedback that I get from our consulting services team is very good. They're able to merge their tags and have multiple people working at the same time. Can you elaborate on how TFS InduSoft works with SharePoint? Well, basically, that's only available for the TFS on-premise. When you install the TFS, you get an option to actually integrate the TFS with SharePoint. So all the work items, the tasks, the documents, they get published inside SharePoint, and you also have several pre-built reports that TFS adds to the SharePoint portal, so you can see pie charts, you can see progress charts, and things like that. Okay, so there is another question here that's saying, okay, that's fine, but every time that I open and close my project, I get something changed in the project and checked out. Is there a way to modify that? We have improved that quite a lot. Actually, as part of the Service Pack 1, we've made several changes to prevent that from happening into the tags database on the screens. Like if you run the Verify application, it's not going to check out all of your files and things like that. However, depending on what you are doing there, we might make some changes on those files, like the tag help.bean and some other ones. We shouldn't be doing that on Service Pack 2. If you have an application or you're having instance of that, please email us your application or an example where you're facing issues, and we are going to try to enhance that for you. We still got 3 minutes. So, is it possible to use MS Project to manage resources of the InduSoft project through 3FS and SharePoint as well? Yes, definitely. All the work items that you saw there, you can work with Microsoft projects, and actually you can also open them with Excel and create your different reports. I don't have Microsoft project installed on this computer, but if I had, it would allow me to open all the work items and control the project, the progress of these work items with the Microsoft project. Can we move work items to completed? Yes, I think that's what I did, right? So let me go back here and let me show you this. So let me go back to my work. You can simply drag them to Dawn, and that will mark them as completed. You can also double-click on your items. Oops, let me go here. On any of your items, and you can change the state of these items through here. You can mark as in Dawn as completed. There is no completed for the task, but you can mark it as Dawn. But once you finish a PBY, you can also mark that backlog item or that group of items as done as well. So you can change the state from here, or you can drag them. Oh, from the InduSoft interface. No. Right now we don't allow you to change the status of the work items through the InduSoft interface yet. But as we evolve this solution, we might allow you to do that in the future. Very, very good input, actually. I'm going to take a note of it. Thank you. If I know offhand how the resources need to install TFS and SharePoint, the Microsoft website also actually has that information, but the requirements or minimum requirements if you want to install the TFS on premises is 2 gigabytes of RAM memory and I think a few gigabytes of storage. So it's not as much. It uses the SQL Server. You can use the SQL Server Express. If you want to set up SharePoint, then the requirements are a little higher, even though here, from our experience, 2 gigabytes for the TFS, it works great, or 2 gigs of RAM. But if you want to install SharePoint, you want to have at least 4 gigs for that. And again, you know, if you're doing this or you're getting started with this, please get started with the cloud version. It's very fast. You don't have to do much. It's free. You can get familiar with it. And once you are familiar, if you need advanced functionality, you can go and install that. Again, the integration with Microsoft Project and Excel, you can do with the cloud. Because once you install the TFS Explorer, it will allow you to open the different things from here and also using the Excel or the Microsoft Project. Okay, well, we are running out of time now, so if you don't have any, oh, okay, one more question. If you are running the project for testing while developing, does TFS try to log the history and alarms? No. The HST and the event folder, those don't get published to the TFS. Those are not part of your application development, right? Those are part of the runtime. So unless you come in the TFS Explorer and add them manually, InduSoft is not going to add those to the TFS. So if you want to log historical data, you might want to configure your application to log it in a historical database, or you can use the historical files, but those don't get added to the TFS. So you can have your customer editing the application, having the application there. You can publish changes to the TFS, ask the customer to get those changes, and he is not going to lose his historical data or anything like that. Right? I don't see any more questions. We are running out of time. Anyways, thank you very much for participating on this webinar. You're going to receive an email to give us feedback. You can always send emails to info@indusoft.com if you have questions or suggestions for us. Thank you for your time today, for participating on this webinar. We are developing this collaboration tool as something that we use internally and also to help you guys to develop your application and deliver solutions for your customers. So our goal is always to provide the best possible solution for you to work and develop your entire project. If you have suggestions, please send those to us, and we're going to make sure to address your concerns and help you to be successful. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Bye.